Good morning. Small town festivals. I feel a bit out of place if Amsterdam is called a small town.
No, it's not.
So, but
Depends on
as Alan said, I'm originally from the Netherlands. And how did I end up in Ireland is a long story, but I give you the short version of it. I worked since I was 22 years of age in international development and emergency relief in Africa and Asia for different organizations, never for UNHCR or bigger organizations. I worked for the Dutch Volunteer Service, for the Lutheran World Federation, and for an Irish organization, Concern. And they sent me out in 1979 to Bangladesh. And I met an Irish lady from Lismore. That's the very short story about my life. Lismore is a town of 2,000 people. Now, how do I describe Lismore to you? I have something here from somebody, and I like to read. IMRAMA is a festival of travel writing. It invites authors to Lismore to talk specifically about their experience when traveling and writing about traveling. And one of them wrote about Lismore, and it says, "The beautiful Blackwater River suddenly opened before us, and driving along it for 3 miles through some of the most beautiful, rich country ever seen, we came to Lismore." That was written in 1842 by a guy called William Thackeray. And it's still true today, because very little development has taken place. I give you this book, Susanna Slacht. It has a castle, which is the Duke of Devonshire's seat in Ireland. It has a courthouse, the middle one, a view of the town, and it has at the bottom a cathedral. It used to be the Catholic cathedral, and I think it was until Cromwell came and it became an Anglican cathedral. It's still a cathedral. And Thackeray came to Lismore at that time and saw the cathedral and noticed that on the left-hand side of the walk into the graveyard there were the Catholics buried, and on the right-hand side the Protestants. And he says, what does it matter? We're all here together and the blue sky bends over all. And that's where the motto, the blue sky bends over all, comes from. See if I can work this. By the way, I've never given a talk about IMRAMA. This is the first time, so bear with me. Okay. In 1995, the town was designated a population area. Meant no industry, no industrial development could take place according to the county councils. No public transport existed. All Lismore has is its beauty, and that's it. There were 2 hotels in Lismore, one just outside the town, one inside the town. Total beds 28. In 2003 there were no B&Bs, no restaurants. I remember the first time we did IMRAMA in 2003, the complaint was, where will we eat from our population? Nothing. So in 2003, 2 groups came together, Makuda Development Company and the local heritage town. And they said, we need to do something. We need to do something in the town to bring people to the town. They got money from the County Enterprise Board to hire a consultant to look at the town and come up with an idea. And all we gave them at the time the consultant was, we want an event, a happening for Lismore of international quality and international standard. We need to bring people to Lismore. And I remember the consultant phoning me and says, I have 3 ideas. And one of them is a travel writing festival. And I said, hold, stop, I don't want to hear the other 2. Travel writing is Lismore. The travel writing experiences is what should happen. Lismore, 1,000 years ago, 1,100 years ago, there was a philosophist who said there is 2 cultural centers in the world. One is Constantinople, the other one is Lismore. Lismore had a university, was educating people to go abroad, mainly for religious purposes. But the town was, I think at the time, had 1,000 students. In the Duke of Devonshire's castle fell in disrepair, and in the early 1800s they renovated the castle, and they found a secret room. And in that room they found 2 things. They found a crozier, which is now in the National Museum in Dublin, and they found an ancient manuscript called the Book of Lismore. And the Book of Lismore contains the writings of Marco Polo in Irish, dating from before any English translation. And the third reason is very recent. There is a very famous, if you're into travel writing, there's a very famous writer living in Lismore, Dervla Murphy. Dervla never married, but was one of the first, if not the first lady to go on the bicycle from Lismore to Nepal in 1962. And she wrote about it. She has been traveling since. She's still traveling. She is 83 years of age. She's still traveling and writing about it. So, what have we achieved after 13 years? We have a festival where this year 1,400 people came to our literary event out of 1,500 seats available. And this occupancy is indicative of the festival. It's every year the same percentage. We're bringing to the town over the weekend around about 5,000 people. That's twice, or more than twice, the population coming to visit. They stay in the town, don't ask me where, because we still have only a few B&Bs and 2 hotels. But they're coming, and they're coming from far. I keep a record of the tickets where they come from when they phone and book. Last year, 10% came from abroad of our tickets. About 60% came from more than 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers away, and the rest in the surrounding area. We reckon that, and that is an estimate, and I don't have the basic figures for that, but we reckon that it is the economic value of our festival is about 200 to 250,000 euro over the weekend for the local area. And how do we come to that? 3,500 to 5,000 people, 50 euro spending in food, lodging, travel, etc. And I thought it was very high when we discussed it. But our last festival, I went into the local pub, restaurant, and the staff at 3 o'clock in the morning, when they tried to throw us out, thanked me for organizing the festival. They said we have had only a cup of coffee today. We sold 267 menu meals today from 5 o'clock till 9. I think they sold more in beer afterwards, until 3 o'clock. For that restaurant, and the owner recently discussed it with me, he estimates he made €25,000 between the 12 o'clock Saturday till 3 o'clock Sunday morning. And that was only the Saturday evening. He wouldn't talk about the Friday or the Thursday or the Sunday night. And this is not a once-off. It was all over the town. They are the basic results of the festival. There is another aspect, an aspect which only became evident over the years. And I didn't fully realize it, and I think we never, or none of us on the committee fully realized it. But although Lismore is very small, it is a divided community. And those who are familiar with Ireland might know the difference between local people and blow-ins. And in Ireland, and if somebody takes offense, there's no offense intended, you have to have three, as they say, you have to have 3 generations in the graveyard before you are local. And otherwise you are a blow-in. And when we started the festival, and I talked to people in the town and asked them to come, would they come to the festival? Oh, no, that's not for us. Of course, that's very upmarket. It's not for us, we're not coming. But in the last couple of years, the people in the town start talking about our festival and coming to the festival. So there is an integration taking place, maybe it's a big word, but there is more consideration taking place between the two communities. And it's actually very evident, if you look at it, that one side, the blow-ins, don't talk to the local community, if I pardon the expression, and vice versa. There was a local festival, a community festival, to raise funds for the local rest home. None of the blow-ins would attend the community festival. None of the community festival attendants would attend the IMRAMA. That has changed and is changing, and I think it's fantastic that it changes. The other aspect is, and maybe that goes back to my work as a volunteer in international aid. When I was trained by the Dutch volunteers in 1972 to go to the Philippines, they said there is 2 sides to your work. What you do out there, and when you come back, to create awareness of what is out there. And I think by bringing people, international travelers from all over the world, to Ireland and to Lismore, and they talk to our audience about other cultures they experienced, other values, is an awareness creation of how a lot of people in the world live in other areas. So it was not set up to have this, but it was, I think it's a part of it. And I'm just throwing all this out, Alan, because I wasn't prepared for the whole long presentation. But I talk until tomorrow morning, if you like, about IMRAMA. I end up basically with a quote from Lord Burlington, the present occupier of the castle in Lismore. It's the son of the Duke of Devonshire. And he said recently about IMRAMA, IMRAMA brings Lismore to the world and the world to Lismore. And I think that's very true. Thank you.